Feelings means beta, like suppose you don't have interest in something, in any topic you don't have interest. Okay, so that feeling may restrict your communication properly. Okay, next is your environment. Noise or disturbance in the surroundings may make communication difficult. For example, I'm trying to convey my feelings or my thoughts to an audience which is very noisy and is not trying to listen to what I am saying, right? So at this time, my communication will be affected, and this is known as environmental factor in perspective of your communication. Next are your personal factors. Beta, there can be personal factors also, like your own habit, any particular habit, like low confidence in yourself, that will also restrict you from your a better communication, right? Next is your cultural differences. Like in some cultures, maybe you are not able to talk to a particular community or a particular gender of people, right? So there also a communication gap occurs, and these all are the factors which will affect your communication. Okay, so we have discussed language, visual perceptions, past experiences, prejudice, feelings, environment, personal factors, as well as cultures. Now, let us discuss what is effective communication. Okay, so in this effective communication, as I have shown you on your screen, we are going to discuss 7 C's. Okay, whenever you are communicating, you have to follow these 7 C's. First of all, your information, whatever you are going to convey, should be clear. That means what do you want to say should be clear in your head, right? Next is concise. Use simple words and say only what is needed. If you will try to exaggerate the things, then neither the audience will be satisfied nor the you will be satisfied. So your message should be concise. Next is concrete. Use exact words and phrases to define whatever you want to convey. So if you want to speak one line, it should be concrete, concise, and clear. Fourth C is correct. Beta, the facts which you are going to present in front of your audience should be correct in every manner. Okay, and suppose you are telling any story, it should be grammatically correct. Okay, the language should be proper, right? So correctness means if you are presenting the facts, the fact should be correct. If you are presenting any language, in a language you are presenting your views, it should be grammatically correct. Next is coherent. Coherent means your words should make sense and should be related to the main topic. You should not drag yourself away from the main topic and you will speak something else only. Okay, so you should not waste the time of your audience as well as yourself. Then the sixth of the 7 C's is complete. Okay, so that means whatever information you want to convey, beta, it should be complete in all the senses. Then only your communication will be effective. And the last C is cautious. What do you mean by that? Be respectful towards your audience. Okay, you should be respectful, friendly, and honest towards your audience. If you will not show respect to the audience, how they will show interest, or how they will be respectful towards the speaker, right? So these were the 7 C's of effective communication. These are very important and you should learn it. Clear, concise, concrete, correct, coherent, complete, and cautious. Okay, now after discussing that how your communication will be effective, next is beta different methods of communication. Okay, so it can be verbal, non-verbal, and visual. Let me give you a brief introduction. See beta, in verbal we are going to use a language. It can be written or it can be oral. Okay, verbal communication is the sharing of information by using words. Now these words I can write also and I can speak also. All right, now in this method we are going to discuss oral or spoken communication as well as the written communication. Oral can be done face to face, talking on phone, okay, classroom teaching, or like this virtual classroom which we are teaching right now. All right, and written communication means when you are writing letters, notes or emails to a person, there is this SMS service, okay, or you are using any kind of social media platform where you are communicating with the help of written words, okay. So ultimately in your verbal communication, words will be used, no matter if it is in the written form or the oral format, right? So this was all about your verbal communication. Now let us discuss what are the advantages and disadvantages of this particular type of communication. But a verbal communication is easy and quick. You will easily get to know what your listener wants to acknowledge after listening, right? So it is easier to communicate because the other person is actively listening, right? But the disadvantage is there can be cultural differences, okay, like there are, we have discussed all the barriers in communication, no? So all these barriers can come in the live communication. Like if the person is not showing interest in you, then how you will be able to communicate, right? So if suppose right now my mood is not well, I don't want to listen to anyone, okay, but if I am sending any message, if I receive any message in written, then maybe after 10 minutes, after 15 minutes I can read it, right? So in active communication or in verbal communication, when I'm communicating face to face, there are chances that the other person may lose the interest, may not show the respect towards the sender. Hence these barriers will, you know halt the verbal communication. Next is your public speaking. Public speaking comes in your verbal communication only when you are addressing and a lot of people at a time, right? So you have to follow 3 P's here. 3 P. So first P is beta prepare. You should prepare well in advance if you are going for a public speaking. Next is your practice. Practice by yourself. First talk in front of mirror, like whenever we used to train children for their any speech or PBLs, we always tell, no beta, you have to speak in front, stand in front of mirror and then speak, or speak, stand in front of your parents, then speak, so that you will gain confidence, right? So prepare, practice, and then perform. Okay, take a few deep breaths if you are feeling nervous, and then go for it, right? So 3 P's of public speaking are: public means like when there are a lot of people to whom you are addressing, right? So you have to prepare, practice, and then perform. So this was all about your verbal communication. We have discussed what is it, advantages, disadvantages, as well as we have discussed 3 P's of public speaking. Now let us discuss non-verbal communication. Sometimes words are not enough to speak. Sometimes your gestures, your body posture will let us know that you are interested, you are communicating, you are getting the things or not. Right? So non-verbal communication is the message we send to others without using any words. As you can see on your screen, non-verbal communication means it is based on the expressions, posture, gesture, touch, space, eye contact, paralanguage, right? So all these are the factors which I'm going to briefly explain now. Okay, what is the importance of non-verbal communication? As you can see here beta, there is this pie chart which is showing that in the blue color, these are the expression, movements, or the pictures that are used for non-verbal and visual communication. This green colored, yellowish green color is showing words or the verbal communication, and this red color is showing non-verbal communication. Hence the verbal communication takes a very less part when you are talking about the communication. Sometimes your expressions will speak rather than words, right? For example, you might have observed that suppose a person is annoying in the class, okay, and the teacher is teaching, then the teacher will only give a strange or the very sharp look at the child and it will be sorted, right? So sometimes rather than using words, only expression can speak more than the desired action. They can perform the action, right? So next is beta non-verbal communication, exchanging information without words, like hand movements. You can, if you have to point at someone, then you can show your index finger, right? And the expression will say everything. Like you can smile if you are feeling happy, you can make a sad face also, okay, you can make an angry face also, Or the tone of your voice can also tell, that is known as para language. Okay, the tone of your language will also communicate that you are happy, excited, or sad, right? So facial expressions, as you know that facial expressions are all these smileys which we use, right? Next is body posture. Like if you are, why we always say in the school, sit straight, okay, bind your arms. Why? So that whenever you are sitting straight, it shows that you all are active listeners, right? So your body posture will also let the other person know what kind of feelings you are having. Next is your gestures or body language. What happens in body language, beta, that sometimes maybe like you are rubbing your nose, okay, you are binding your arms, that means you are not, you are ready for an argument, okay, you are showing some fingers, any other hand action, any other gesture, that will also let the listener or the other person know that what kind of emotions you are having right now. Okay, next is your touch. Touch means, beta, suppose you are shaking the hands firmly, so when you are shaking firmly, that time we will come to know that okay, yes, you are very confident about yourself, and it is a formal handshake. Okay, but if you are a very good friends, you are meeting a very good friend, then you can shake hand as well as you can hug each other. Okay, so that means this touch will tell us that how close these two people are, right? Space. So when a student and a teacher is talking, there is a perfect space between these two. But when two very good friends are standing, that time you can see both can hold their shoulders and like that. So this space between two people will also let the other person know that how much close these two people are. Eye contact. So why eye contact is important? So that while maintaining an eye contact with the person you are talking, it indicates that you are interested in the talk, as well as if you are not looking into the eyes of that person, it shows that you are not at all interested and you are thinking something else. Para language means, beta, sometimes the tone of your voice, okay, you can suppose you are shouting on your elder any elder brother or younger brother, right? So that times the tone of your voice becomes different. Okay, or like if I am only saying students, or suppose I am telling my dear students, so that means the way I speak or the tone which I use for my language will let you know that what is the current situation or the current mood of the teacher. All right, so use a proper tone and volume while speaking, because it shows your interest in speaking also, right? Next is, beta, your visual communication. Visual means when you are looking at something and then you are getting to know about something. It is a very famous saying that a picture is worth the thousand words. That means even if you are writing a 1,000 word paragraph and you are pasting it on a wall, and then for the same topic you are putting an image or a poster on this another wall, then people will definitely go to the poster. Why? Because nobody has this much time as well as interest in reading the things. So visual communications are the best ways when you have to tell people or a group of people something. For example, traffic lights. Okay, while moving in your city, you might have seen that traffic lights are a very good example, that as soon as you will see this red stop, you will stop there only, right? And when you will see this green signal, that time you have to move. Okay, so rather than told it by any traffic police, okay, you can see the light and you can assume the things, right? Next example is your, suppose in front of any school or hospital you see this no honking sign. That means horn, you cannot blow horn here, you cannot, you know, use the high volumes here, right? So all these are the signs which will let the people know what they want to communicate. This is known as your visual communication. Beta, colors are also used, okay, symbols are also used, shapes are used, and all these will let you know that what the person wants to convey. So these were the three types of communications that we have discussed. Okay, now let us come to the writing skills. Okay, in the writing skills I will be just brushing up your English concepts. Okay, will uh, so first is where to use capitalized words. Okay, where you have to start a word with a capital letter. So there is this simple rule, MINTS. M stands for months, I stands for the letter I. Okay, I. Wherever you are saying no, may I or anything, wherever you are representing yourself as I symbol, I letter, you have to make it capital. Then N for names, T for titles, okay, title or the topic, and S stands for starting letter of the sentences. So mints is basically a short form to always remember where you have to start a word with a capital letter. Next is beta your punctuation marks. Okay, so all of us know these punctuation marks, where to use the stop, where to use the comma, question mark, exclamation, or apostrophe. Okay, so this is all basically use of punctuation in your English language. Okay, can anyone tell me what is the difference between apostrophe S and simple S? Like Divya's pens. So what will be the difference between apostrophe S and simple S? Okay, so Manvi, I'm going to unmute you, beta. Yes, Manvi.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, apostrophe S means like if I say, suppose Rahul's mother has come to school today. So this means that it is Rahul's mother. We are talking about his
Okay,
mother.
okay,
And when in the plural, I say like chocolates, I like chocolates. So
okay,
in
yes.
this case, I'm telling the plural of chocolates.
Very good. Very good example you have given. So I hope everyone has understood. Now, beta, Manvi, mute yourself. All right. So now let us discuss
Yeah.
what are the different basic parts of your speech. Okay. So first one is your noun, pronoun, adjectives, verbs, and adverbs. Okay, so all this we know in English, right? What are nouns, pronouns, adjectives? So these are basically your part of speech. All right, I will not stretch it more because I know you all know this. All right, so now we all know about these articles, a and the conjunctions, where you have to join two sentences. Okay, then prepositions and interjections. Okay, so these all are basically the supporting parts of your speech. All right, so these all everyone knows. Beta, I'm proceeding with this chapter now. Next is parts of a sentence. What is a subject, what is object, and what is verb? I'll give you only one example. Let us discuss this only. Divya reads a book, right? So Divya is the subject here because subject is the person or anything that performs an action, right? And a book is basically an object because the object is the person or thing that receives the action. Okay, and verb means that it defines the action, that what is being done. For example, if I'm saying Divya has torn the book, that means this tearing out is basically a verb, right? So now this verb is the action which is to be done, right? So let us proceed. Types of objects, better there are direct objects as well as indirect objects. Okay, so these all you can read and you can understand because it is a simple English that we have done when we were very young in the age. Okay, now types of sentences, active and passive, all of us know this, right? So suppose I'm saying Sanjay broke the glass. Okay, so it is a active. Now the glass was broken by Sanjay, this means that it is a passive, right? So there are two types of sentences, active as well as passive. Next is beta paragraphs. Like whenever you are writing any paragraph, you are supposed to see the alignment. And what is a paragraph? A group of sentences is known as a paragraph. So while writing a paragraph, first of all you need to see the correct grammar, then correct alignment and everything. Okay, whenever you are pronouncing beta, that time there are few words which are need to be pronounced correctly. Okay, so best way is to like use the phonetics. Okay, if you cannot use the phonetics, then for a particular word you can use the Google pronunciation also. Then you will come to know how to pronounce a particular word. Okay, now I'm skipping this part. You all can read this from the book, right? Next is beta how to greet others. Okay, greetings and introductions. Like suppose you are meeting a person. Okay, that time you will greet that person, and the greetings can be formal or informal. For example, if you are meeting the teacher, like in Cambridge Court, we do namaskar, right? You can say hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, being a professional, being a formal. Okay, then for informal, what you can do is you can say hi, what's up, hey, what's going on. This can be informal greetings. So formal greetings are those greetings that you will speak to those people with whom you want to maintain a professional or a formal approach, right? And informal greetings can be done with the family members, friends, okay, close friends, and everything. Okay, so these were the greetings and the types of greetings, formal as well as informal. Okay, now let us discuss if you have to introduce yourself, then how you will speak. Okay, so here is this example. I am Aman. I am Rahul from Agra. My name is Tina. I am in class 8th or class 9th, whatever. Then, hi, I am Anu. I like cricket. So, there are different people who have represented themselves differently, right? So, there is one specific way how one should be able to define himself or herself, right? So when you are talking about yourself, you need to understand that when you meet someone for the first time, they may want to know more about you. Okay, so how you will understand this will be spoken like, first of all, you will tell your name. Okay, then you will tell that where do you work, like if you are a student, then I study in this so and so. Okay, then you will tell your likes as well as dislikes. Okay, so this is a way of introducing or talking about yourself, right? Next is beta, suppose you have to fill a form. Okay, filling a form means there will be different categories, and then you have to write against it. You have to fill those categories. Okay, so forms can be filled, all of us know beta, name, date of birth, everything you have to write. So I don't have to discuss this point. Filling forms, whatever is written, you have to write that in particular that column. Okay, now in this session I will discuss asking questions. Suppose someone is asking questions. Okay, and why we have to ask question. So a question is a request for information. Okay, when you want information about something, we ask questions, right? Example can be, where will I find the answer of question number 2? So this is a question only. Okay, now let us discuss how to make sure we have complete information about this. Beta, in a question there should be 5W and 1H. 5Ws and 1H. So 5Ws means who, where, when, what, why. Okay, and 1H means how. So you should know when to use which of these. Okay, suppose you want to ask about some kind of person. Okay, you want to ask about people, so then you will use who did this. Okay, and suppose you want to know the place, then you will use the where. Okay, so you should know about 5Ws and 1H. 5Ws are who, where, when, what, and why. 1H means how. Okay, if you want to know the method, you want to know the how. Okay, if you want to know the reason, you will use why. So all these are important in order to get the complete information. So you should know how to frame any question, right, using these. Khushi beta, I'll take your doubt later. First let me proceed. Okay, now let us discuss what are the different types of questions. Okay, questions can be close ended or open ended, as I started in the class this time. So open ended means beta, see, whenever you are asking any question, that time if there can be multiple answers. For example, if I ask you, how you spent yesterday evening, so one person can give me one answer, another will give me another answer, right? So there are multiple answers for a single question. Okay, but any question that can be answered in yes or no is known as a close ended question. or suppose the answer is a universal truth. Okay, or if suppose the answer is, suppose I ask from which website you will download the ebook, so the answer is one only, that is the uniform answer, so this is known as your close ended question. Okay, when we sometimes ask a question and when we expect answer with more details, okay, or there can be more multiple answers, these both are known as open ended questions. Okay, how to frame a question means that you should know first of all how to use those 5h and 5w's and 1h. Okay, so when you are framing a question you should know the audience to whom you are asking, what kind of answers you want to expect. Okay, so this was all about your communication. At first of all we discussed what is communication, what is the importance of communication, what are the perspectives in communication, then we discussed the barriers in communication, right? After that we came directly on the types of communication, verbal, non-verbal, as well as the visual. Then we, after discussing these, we came up to the language, that means the parts of speech, writing skills, everything. Okay, in that we have discussed that what kind of sentences, what are the part of speech. Okay, these all things we have discussed, and later we have discussed what are greetings, how the formal and informal greetings are done. Okay, with whom we do the formal greeting and to whom we greet informally, right? After that we discussed that what are questions, what are the types of questions, how to frame a question. Okay, and how to get a complete information, because you should know how to frame a question. Okay, you should know when to ask, what to ask. If you want to know the place, then you have to use where. Okay, so if you will have all these knowledge and you know what is best at a particular time, you will definitely have a very good communication skill in your life. Okay, so this was all about